Hello everyone, JRDL96 here with a brand new reaction. As you can tell by the title, it's somewhat Marvel related, but mostly Sony related. And that is for Madam Web. Why make a movie about her? I will never understand what Sony is doing, but I think I might have a good understanding of why. But I'll explain that later. But I've heard that they were trying to make this a movie for, a couple years now, ever since they started doing these other movies outside of the MCU, especially with Venom and Morbius and Kraven the Hunter, that just got delayed until like next year because of the strike. But this is coming out in February, so it's not too that far away. But all I know is that Dakota Johnson, who I know mostly from the 50 Shades of Grey movies, she's playing Madam Web. And I'm familiar with Madam Web because I grew up watching the Spider-Man animated series, from the 90s, who in that cartoon was voiced by Stan Lee's wife, which is pretty funny. But that's who I recognize Madam Web as. So I have no idea what's the purpose of having a movie on Madam Web. That's probably not going to have anything related to Spider-Man. Like, seriously, like, she is a character that is so tied to Spider-Man. Like, come on. But anyways, I might as well just get right into this, train wreck of a movie that I'm probably not going to see because it's probably going to get reviews of negativity and also bomb hard at the box office more than Morbius and the Marvels combined. But, let's see how this, goes. So without further ado, let's react to this video, shall we? Oh, okay. The trailer music.
Hey, come on. Get your stuff. Let's go.
Who the hell is this? Spider-Man? Oh, it's some arachnid character.
Let's try that again.
What is this, a time loop?
A week ago, I spent my life racing against time,
I'm gonna help you out today, okay?
trying to save people who were running out of it. Until one moment changed everything.
Come on! Welcome back to the land of the living.
Huh.
I don't understand what's happening. I've been having visions. I knew he was gonna die.
No,
I think
I
I'm
didn't
seeing
even
the
notice the
future.
car crash in the distance.
New York City is a whole new level
Ha!
of crazy these days.
Mahat. Oh, that's the spider killer, I guess you could say.
New York City is a whole new level of crazy these days.
This is an emergency. Get off the train.
That man's trying to kill you.
Why?
Who are you? What is going on? I can see the future.
Sounds about right.
What the hell? She didn't see that coming? That's
Nah.
not how it works. I've seen that man before.
So who is he?
Ezekiel Sims. He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
Oh.
Wait, I recognize you. You live in my building. You're the paramedic.
Yeah, you almost ran me over.
You don't think this is weird? How we're all connected?
It's honestly like the least weird thing that's happened all day.
I have no idea what those girls have come.
Well,
I think
Spider
he can
women?
see into the future.
He's trying to change what happens. Julia, get down!
Why aren't you scared of me? Why do you care for me?
Your future was almost so different.
Why do we go?
If you want to live, you have to trust me.
oh,
Get ready. Now!
You're showing off.
Maybe a little.
I don't get why we're making movies based on the most random characters in the Spider-Man universe. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I guess in this world, in this Spider-Man-less universe, she's a paramedic that I guess has a thing that happens to her where she almost dies and somehow now has the ability to see the future and can prevent things from happening and restart. Like in the beginning with the diner scene, she can restart whenever she wants. So I don't get what I don't recall Madam Web doing that. Maybe, like, all I know is that they're beings from another universe, like from her and the Beyonder, or like these beings from this unknown universe or whatever. That's what I've heard. But there's this Spider-Man looking person who is killing people for some reason. He's got a weird looking costume. Like, obviously the mask is very, with the triangular lenses, is very Spider-Man-esque. So this is a Spider-Man killer, I guess. And then there's these versions of Spider-Woman, like Jessica Drew, I'm pretty sure. But I have no idea why they're making this a movie. Do you think anybody, and I mean anybody, was clamoring for a movie on Madam Web? Like, tell me, who in their right mind, I seriously want to know what goes through their heads at Sony's offices. What goes through their heads? What goes through Avi Arad's head? Especially in the Sony, in that department. Like, what goes through their head saying, we need to make a movie based on Madam Web? Like, we need to make a movie about Kraven the Hunter. We got to make a movie about Morbius the Living Vampire. Venom was a given, and I think Venom is the only one that's been successful, to be fair. But the other, like, Kraven, Morbius was bombed so hard, and I feel the same will happen to Kraven and in this movie. Like, who no one really cares. No one's clamoring for this. No one asked for this. Like, this is just, in a way, like, and this is where it ties into what I believe, all these movies are all, in a sense, for Sony to keep the movie rights to Spider-Man. This is all being done so that they can keep the rights to the character. Because if they don't make a movie within a certain amount of years, then the rights refer back to Marvel Studios. Well, you can say, well, what if, they already made the Spider-Man No Way Home and they have another one in the works. But I feel like that is technically under Marvel Studios as well. So I don't think those count, essentially. You know what I mean? I feel like they don't, like, I've heard that those particular movies with Spider-Man do not count at all. And these movies in particular, Venom, Morbius, Kraven, Madam Web, are all being done so they can keep the rights to the character, because if they don't make a movie with a certain amount of years, just like every other, like, especially, like, for example, Daredevil, they were trying to make a movie, and they ended up not getting that done in time, and the movie got reverted back. The rights got reverted back. The Fantastic Four movie from 2015, that horrendous train wreck, was made in spite of Marvel. Because that movie was announced literally the day after Disney bought Marvel. It was Fox sending the message to Marvel and Disney saying, you're not getting the rights back. It was a rights retainer. That's all it was. And I feel like these movies are just right retainers. Like, it may not make any sense, but to me, like, there's no purpose about having this movie made. Who was clamoring for this? Who was clamoring, hey, I want a movie made about Madam Web? Unless if you have Spider-Man involved, then that's fine. Like, we have become accepting of having multiple variations of the character on screen. Even the same character being played by 3 different fucking actors. We've had them together on screen, and yet they're like, well, no, we can't use them. Why? Because Marvel said so? They haven't done anything with the characters since 2021 with No Way Home. They haven't done anything since. Yes, they're trying to work on the next movie, but God knows when that will come out. So, you can bring in, like, someone like Andrew Garfield. I'm pretty sure, again, that would not be a right place to put him. But get another actor that plays Spider-Man. Like, oh, you don't want to compete with anyone else. Who fucking cares? We have accepted this. It's accepting. We have accepted the fact that oh, we have two different, like, multiple variations of Spider-Man on screen. We got the Spider-Verse movie, if you're crying out loud. There's multiple versions of the character. Across the Spider-Verse had, like, over 100 of them. And yet, Sony just can't use the rights for live action? Like, what? Like, they have these new different spins on the characters. Like, this one that looked like Black Cat / Catwoman. That was in that black outfit that almost looks like the symbiote, with the symbiote emblem on it. Like, and then the one with the spider arms, kind of almost reminiscent of the Iron Spider, and also Peter's, iron, metal arms from Spider-Man 2 PS5. So I don't understand what the purpose of this movie is. What's the purpose? What are you trying to set up? What is it, like, they're claiming that Spider-Man 4 is going to tie into the other movie, into this Sony-verse. Okay. Like, Venom 2 was clickbait to me, because the ending with Venom getting sucked into the MCU for 5 minutes and then getting, transported back by the end of the No Way Home, not doing anything except just leave a drop of the symbiote behind, was a waste. It was a waste. Like, I was expecting, Tom Hardy to be a part of the whole final battle and being on the side of Spider-Man. But no. I guess for some reason they just decided not to do that. Like, what was the purpose of that, Avi? What was the purpose of that? Yes, you kind of helped bring Marvel movies into the fold. I get that. But that does not mean that you can make movies about the most random-ass characters that maybe the 5 nerds in the audience would fucking care about. Like, seriously. It's so ironic. Avi Arad, I've heard the story. Apparently, when they were doing the animated series in the 90s, Avi Arad was so against having a toy made of Madam Web. Against it! He was so against it. But I guess they ended up doing so, if I'm not mistaken. He ended up making a toy for her anyways, but still, he was very hesitant. He's like, who cares about that old lady? Like, but some people could, but that was then. But now, when you're making a live-action movie that probably has no ties to the MCU or any version of Spider-Man that we know of, except for these random-ass characters that we don't know of. Like this random, serial killer Spider-Man with the weirdest, costume in the world. It looks like a basketball on his head. Like, seriously, who's gonna care? I don't think anybody does. I've heard a lot of people are ripping this movie apart. Big time. It's got a lot of dislikes, of course, because no one cares. No one asked for this. And I don't care if you decided to bring in Billie Eilish into the trailer. It doesn't matter. It don't matter. This movie doesn't matter. It's just a rights retainer. Like, who cares about this? Who's gonna care about this? It's just a rights retainer. It doesn't mean shit. There's no reason to have this movie be made. There's no reason for this movie to be made. But yet they are making this. I don't understand. And God knows what Avi Arad's got in mind for the, what Nintendo just randomly announces on a random ass day through, Japanese tweets, that they are working with Sony and Avi Arad to do a live action Legend of Zelda movie. Like, really? God knows what Avi Arad's gonna do. Like, I don't trust that son of a bitch. He single-handedly destroyed the Sam Raimi trilogy by shoehorning in Venom just to sell toys. And then he, ruined Mark Webb's vision for the Amazing Spider-Man franchise for over, franchise potential. It was annoying. I don't get that. Like, worry about that later. Focus on the story and focus on the quality and not the quantity. But then again, he's Avi Arad. Because he knows everything. He's in charge of those movies. And Venom was his pet project for the last decade, and he finally got it made. And it made a lot of money. Because you had Tom Hardy's performance, because that was probably the only thing that was carrying the goddamn movie. It was overall horrendous. But I enjoyed it because of how hilarious it was. It's just how stupidly funny it was. It was fun. That's what mattered. It was fun and I was entertained by it. Even Let There Be Carnage was fun. It was because of Tom Hardy's performance. I enjoyed those two films. And God knows what Venom 3 is going to be. You know? But who's going to care about Madam Web, Kraven the Hunter, or, you know, Morbius? Who's going to care? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter at all. There's no point to having these movies made. Like, seriously. Like, I feel bad for everybody involved. I'm pretty sure they really are trying to make this a great movie. But in reality, no one's going to care because no one asked for it. No one has asked for this. At all. No one has. And yet they're like, we got to make this because we got to keep those rights. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And I don't understand why somehow, some way, the rights to the Hulk are still with Universal when they haven't even made a movie in over 15 years. Yet that it's still with Marvel. It's still with Universal. Like, come on, man. Like, all it took Disney to do to get the rights back to the X-Men and Fantastic Four was to buy Fox themselves. That's how very sad that is. I don't know, man. But anyways, honestly, as you could tell, I don't think I'm going to be seeing this movie because I have no interest, because this doesn't even intrigue me in the slightest. I'll watch New Rockstar's breakdown of it just to see what is going on here, just for the hell of it. But again, I don't think I'm going to see this movie at all. It just doesn't interest me. Like, as if Spider-Man was in this movie, then I probably would go see it. But I'm not going to see a character that has nothing to do with Spider-Man. Like, apparently I keep hearing that Toby's going to be in this one. I'm like, don't fucking do that shit. Don't try to bait me in just to get me to go see this stupid-ass movie. Doesn't matter. Who's going to care? No one's going to care about this. And I feel bad for everyone involved in this movie. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this, clusterfuck. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, share this video with your friends. Be sure to ring that bell to be part of the notification squad. Be sure to check out my Instagram because I make cool as a Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and myself. I also knack as a cosplays on there, so go check it out. And be sure to check out my Tumblr and my Discord in the description as well. So until next time, JRDL96 signing on. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.